Hooty hoo, all my stock market gamblers. Welcome today. I'm Tall Mike. So glad you're here. What do we got going on in the markets? Well, the Dow's down about 100, Nasdaq's up a little, so kind of a flat day. Not a lot of action. We were up at the open, and now we kind of drifted back lower. We'll see how it plays out. A lot of people were worried. They were worried that we were going to have a Black Monday today, and I guess that's normal when you have a big down day on a Friday. Some people think you're going to go into a Black Monday, and we could still have it. We're only about halfway through the trading day. The original Black Monday, it didn't happen till the second half of the day. The first half of the day started off normal, and then the market started to fall apart and started to crash. Well, I don't believe that's going to happen today. It could. I suppose it could. I actually think we're going to get a bounce. I think that the market's oversold. I know the market's oversold. The oscillators I talked about in the Friday episode tells you that the market is the most oversold it's been in the last couple years. So I'm playing it that we're going to get a little bounce from here. Now, I do think we're going lower. Oh, I think we're going much lower. But right now, I think the market's oversold, and I play the odds. The odds are saying that we're going to have a bounce. We'll see how that happens, but I do believe that the worst in the market is still yet to come. It's not here yet. These are the good times. Nothing bad's really happened. A lot of people are worried, though. They think that this market is just in free fall. It's really not. I mean, if you slept through summer, you'd wake up and we'd be right in the same place we were back in June. Started off summer down there, and we ended up down here. Now, yes, we had a rally up, and we gave it all back, and we're probably going to give a little bit more back. I actually think we'll get down to the 200-week moving average. 200-week moving average, that's around 350 on the SPY, but I do see that there's a good chance. Now, I'm not saying it's 100%. It's probably only about 80%, but there's a chance that we're going to get what's called a relief rally. A relief rally where we bounce off these levels, and they go up, and they'll sucker some more people in, and then we'll head lower. It's the way the market works. It's just how it plays out. Now let's move over to the real estate market. Now the real estate market, I do feel, is just in the first or second inning of what I would call the crash. Now I'm calling for a 50% decline in the housing market, and a lot of people don't believe that's going to happen. A lot of people get upset when I say that. We'll see how it plays out. But right now, people are telling me, the number one thing they're telling me is, Mike, nobody's going to sell. Nobody's going to sell because they have a 3% mortgage rate. And right now, if they're selling their 3% mortgage rate, they'll have to get a new mortgage rate when they buy at 7%. Now, I do agree that the loan, the mortgage on your house, that has become the asset, where the house itself is now the liability. Used to be the house was the asset and the loan was the liability, but it's kind of shifted. The loan has become the asset. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, the loan is more valuable than your house. Your house, it's going down. I'm telling you, it's going down. And you got taxes rising on it. You got insurance to pay. You got maintenance costs. That's the liability. Everybody wants to hold on to that 3% mortgage because they can't get that anymore. They can get a 7% mortgage, so nobody's going to sell. That's what people tell me. Well, there's reasons that people have to sell. Now, the reason a lot of people moved out of the cities and they moved into different areas around the country is because that they no longer went into work in the office. They could work from home. But now the companies are calling them back into the office. They're saying if you're not coming in, well, you no longer work here. So a lot of people now have these houses that they have to sell and move back to where their job is. All right, well, a lot of people aren't going to sell. They say, and that may be the case. They may become a landlord. They may decide to rent the property out, and that's a possibility, right? But most people can't rent their house out because they need those proceeds to buy back into another house. But now rich people could just rent their house out and wait for prices to return to all-time highs. Now, they may be waiting 5, 10, 20 years. I'm not sure how long that's going to take for prices to come back to the all-time high, but they don't want to sell below the price that Billy Bob sold at. They got to get the price Billy Bob got, or we're not going to sell. We're not going to put our house on the market. We're going to put a renter in there. Now, this is funny to me because a lot of people think it's easy to be a landlord. Look, I've been a landlord for, many, many, many years. I used to manage properties, and it's a dirty game. It's not easy. You go through an eviction, believe me, you will no longer want to be a landlord. You go through the eviction, not only does it cost you a lot of money to get the tenant out of the property, but you're losing the rent money each month, and you still have to make your mortgage payment. It is not a fun game being a landlord, but a lot of people think that's easy, so they'll try it out, and these are usually wealthy people, so the houses are more on the higher end. So maybe if you're in the waiting game and you want to rent a luxury property, here's an idea. How about a lease option? All right, they can't sell their house for what Billy Bob got, so you give them a lease option, right? You go in there and say, hey, I'll rent your house for 5 years at this price down here, and I'll get, but I want an option on the house to give you the price that Billy Bob got. And if you're one of those that think houses are going up, this is a very good idea, because then you can make money if the house does go up to new record highs. I don't think it will, but I do think that a lot of luxury properties are now starting to drop their rents. The rents are coming down on luxury homes. You can rent a luxury home for a lot less than you can buy a luxury home right now. Well, that's just an idea, but there's a lot of reasons that people are going to be moving from one house to another, from one area to another. Maybe they got relocated. Maybe their job relocated them. Now, why are people going to be selling? Well, you see, what's been cut off is the refi. The refi's been cut off, and a lot of people, that was their lifeline to cash. Look, they would just refi their house when they were broke, and that way they'd take $100,000 out. They'd have enough to live on, and they would just survive, and they'd do it again when their houses went up. But the houses aren't going up now. They're going down. And interest rates are going up, so nobody's refining. Yes, they're taking out HELOCs, home equity line of credit, and they're spending that money. They're living on that money. But those home equity line of credits, they're up at 9% already. That seems like a little bit of money, a little bit of interest to be paying in that equity. It's getting wiped out. Now, a lot of people just put 5% down on their house, and they bought in the last year. They're already underwater. Now, those people are going to be giving them back to the bank in foreclosures. There's going to be a lot of foreclosures coming on. A lot of things. Well, let's talk about second homes. A lot of wealthy people have second homes, but now they're not so wealthy because the stock market's crashing. The crypto market's already crashed, and the bond market's even coming down with it. All three have just really taken a toll on these rich people. So maybe they have to get rid of one of their homes and they sell their second home off. Now, what's also happening right now is, financial problems. When the markets come down, there becomes these financial problems. They can't refinance their house, so they have financial problems. And when there's financial problems, there's a lot of divorce. A lot of marriages end. Number one cause is financial problems. So we're getting a lot of divorces. Now, what happens when they get divorced? Well, they don't hold on to the house. They sell the house, and they get out as fast as they can. They're not going to get out at Billy Bob's price, but they don't care. They just want that house gone. Believe me, I'm a real estate broker. I get a lot of my business from divorce. Divorces are great for realtors. You think about it. You got two people living together. You got to sell that house, but they usually each go buy a smaller one, like a condo. So you can get 3 sales from one divorce. It's great for the real estate business. Oh, yes. Very good. Now, there's also health emergencies. A lot of people have health bankruptcies, and they have to sell their properties. Now, here's an interesting one. A lot of people get this thing. It's called buyer's remorse. Now, let me talk about this a little bit, because one time I bought a house and I had buyer's remorse. I had buyer's remorse because I had a bad neighbor. Oh, it was terrible. Anyways, he thought he was a very friendly person. So anyone comes to visit me, he'd run over and meet him at their car and ask him he was there to visit. Are you here to see Tall Mike? And they'd say, yeah, who are you? Oh, I'm the neighbor across the street. And he'd just be talking with them. And this would happen every time. I hated it. I couldn't pull into my driveway without him running across the street to talk to me. This guy was a crazy man. He had nothing to do all day. I don't know what. I think he had a little bit of mental issues. Neither here nor there, but I didn't like living there. I had buyer's remorse. I sold that property. Now, a lot of people have moved out of their area, and maybe they don't like the new area they moved to. Maybe they miss their friends and family, and they want to move back. There's a lot of reasons that people move, a lot of reasons that people sell houses, a lot of reasons that people will be selling houses. Yes, they want to hold on to that 3% mortgage. I get that. Now, another reason people are selling right now, okay, house flippers. You know, I've been a house flipper. You can make a lot of money when prices are going up. When prices are going down, you can lose a lot of money. And you know, a lot of house flipping is going bad right now, and they want to put those onto the market. A lot of corporations try to flip the houses, the Zillows, the home equity lines, those guys that buy houses, you know, iBuyers, that's the word I'm looking for. The iBuyers, they're flipping these houses and it's not working out for them. It's not going the direction they want it to go in. Now, why hasn't the house market crashed more? Now, I'm telling you, I think we're just in the first or second inning, but the reason the house market hasn't crashed more is because the Federal Reserve, well, they're lying to us. They told us they were going to sell these mortgage-backed securities. You see, they own $3 trillion. $3 trillion of mortgages. And, you know, in the last Fed meeting, they kind of said, well, we're not really going to sell those off. You see, they were going to sell basically $100 billion worth of assets every month, $95 billion to be exact, and $30 billion of those were going to be mortgages. But they say, no, we're not going to sell those mortgages. Now, they don't want to sell them for a couple of reasons. Number one, the housing market would free fall. It would collapse if they sold $3 trillion worth of mortgages. That would be funny. No, I mean, in a sad way funny, but it would just be wrong if they sold the $3 trillion. But here's the real reason they don't want to sell it. Okay, so look, they bought $3 trillion of mortgages when mortgages were at 3%. So they bought all these mortgages. Well, mortgages, what happens? The interest rate went up to 7% now. All right, 6.7%, I think we're at about today. So it went up to 7%. So they bought $3 trillion of these mortgages when it was at 3%. So now if the rate goes up, what happens to the value of the mortgages that they bought? It goes down. It goes down a lot. All right, it may be even cut in half because prices went up so much, right? Not quite in half, but they got $3 trillion of them that now they have to take a loss, right? They have to take a big loss. They have a $9 trillion balance sheet. Now, last I heard that it was down about $1.6 trillion loss if they were to sell all of the bonds and all of their mortgages. Right now, they would take a $1.6 trillion loss. Well, I don't know what they're worried about. They don't pay for one penny of that loss. Who pays for that loss? Well, me and you, we pay for that loss. But they came out and they flat out said, we're not going to sell our mortgage-backed securities. Why? Because they don't want to crash the housing market. Let me got news for them. It's going to crash anyways. They're raising rates. It's going to crash. It's going to come down. It's just, of course, not in your area. I know your area is going up. I get that. And nobody's going to move from your area because it's so lovely and the prices are just stable and it's just a great place to live. Well, maybe that's all true, and I hope it is for you, but I got a different opinion. And once again, I want to point out that it's just my opinion. I could be dead wrong. I'm just a guy with a computer and a microphone, you know. I don't know everything, but I do think that the housing market's going to come down by 50%. I think the stock market's going to come down more. Now, yeah, I think we're going to get a bounce here. Now, I could be dead wrong on that bounce. Maybe we go straight down. Maybe the second half of the day's trading makes this a Black Monday. I don't think it's going to play that way, but it's just my opinion. And you should have an opinion too. You should form your own opinions and make your own decisions. I can't tell you to buy or sell your house. That's your choice. Now, I can help you buy and sell because I am a real estate broker. I can't tell you to buy or sell a stock. That's your choice. You make the decisions. What's right for you. I can tell you what I believe. I can tell you what I think. but you have to make the choice yourself. All right, that's all I got today. I got a little long-winded. It's a Monday, though. I get fired up on a Monday. If you like this stuff, thumbs up. Why not? It's Monday. Get out there, everybody. Have a great Monday. I'm Tall Mike. Bye-bye now.